Okay, so I'm doing this video to show you your basic tools that you need. Okay, just that's for fabrication, not carving. Over here on the far right is a utility knife. This is your standard type that drywallers use, which I've used for many years. I like. You can also use this type that's a ratcheting, box knife, and it works fine. I like a heavier blade, but I use this quite a bit anyway. Over here is all the different setters you'd have for snaps and rivets and things like that. I don't have a setter for heavy duty copper rivets because I don't normally use those, but I can get it easy enough. This is a multi-sized rivet anvil. And then here's an individual anvil, which is okay, but it likes to move around a lot if you don't have a recessed place to put it. Spare swivel knife blades when you do start carving. Mine have seen some pretty heavy wear and tear. I think this is the only one that's still kind of fresh. A little filigree blade. All right. This is a multi-headed screwdriver, Phillips and standard, and it's great for when you have to change small blades and stuff that use a small screwdriver. This is a lacing chisel, and it cuts not holes but slots in your leather so you can use lace instead of thread. So lace and thread. This is a chunk of beeswax. Always good to keep a couple of those handy because you can dip your lacing chisel or even your pricking irons in that when you go to make a hole in the leather, and it'll go through the leather easier. These are pricking irons. These are 4mm pricking irons, which can prick holes that are 4mm apart, or 2mm if you're very careful. They make these in different widths. I think it's 6'4", 3, maybe 6'4", 3, 2. But these are pretty great if you have to do a lot of holes for like a belt or something that's got a lot of perimeter stitching. And it has a 6, a 3, a 2, and a 1 because sometimes you got to go around corners and you can't use a straight 6 around a tight corner. This is an awl. Use it for marking, poking holes, widening, things like that. This is a stitching awl, and it has a diamond-shaped blade, and it's just to go through holes that you've used your pricking iron on and make sure they're cleaned out. This is an edging tool. This is a small one. This is like 1mm, and you can get them bigger, or you can make them bigger, which I'll show you in future videos. And this is a fid. Notice it's broader than an awl, and this is for widening the holes when you are widening your lacing holes. So this is a stitching groover, and this is to cut a groove into your leather so that when you do sew leather, all your thread is laying down below the surface of the leather because your thread will obviously wear more. This is a Japanese style skiving knife. They get a lot of usage, and you got to keep them razor sharp, and I'll show you how to sharpen tools in a future video. This is a groover, and you can see it's got that broader thing, and that's like if you're going to make a project that you have to do a lot of folding, this will remove a lot of material from your leather, the backside of your leather, so you can fold your leather. And it's pretty handy. It takes some getting used to use it, but once you get used to it, it's pretty easy. Sharpening it, however, is a little bit more difficult, but I'll show you that too. This is just a piece of horn, cow horn, and I use this if I need to do some molding or what we call boning, making something more contoured, and it's smooth, so it just slides along and presses the leather against a shape. This is actually my equivalent of a pro peddler. It's a little screwdriver that I cut a very sharp bevel in, and you cut underneath like flower petals, and you can lift them up and make them look 3D. This is obviously a mallet. You can use a mallet or a maul. I've had this mallet for years. I like it, so I keep using it. And we come over here. Oh, right here is this is just a piece of sandpaper glued onto a metal box. And this is a diamond sharpening block with 800 and 1000 grit, which I use for rough sharpening. Over here, this is a stropping pad, all right? And these two items, these are great. You can use these for cutting or punching holes. And these keep your hole punches and your pricks from hitting a metal or stone background and dulling and bending over, which is bad. And of course, this is your slicking tool. This is for slicking the edges of the leather. There's several different varieties. There's even ones you can hook into a drill motor or a Dremel, and handy dandy. And then you have, of course, your punches, and you can get punches just about anywhere. Having a full set of punches and pricking irons is very useful. And then over here we have the stitching tree. The stitching tree holds your project for you while you use two hands to stitch it. And I have a video, I'll have to post that, but it's a very handy item. It's about $30 or $40, or you can make one your own. And then I'm going to back my camera out here. You should always have, let's make that pivot. You should always have measuring tools. All right, you gotta have the measuring tools, and you gotta have them handy, someplace where you can grab them easy, and there they are. Now, other things that you should have. I have a lot of tools hanging on my wall, not as many as some people, but I have a lot of tools that I use. A lot of them just sometimes. I'm not going to go into that. The ones I showed you are the basics for doing most any kind of leather project. This thing does not want to move. Here. I ain't gonna move. So also I have a little set of hooks in front of my workbench that hold other stuff. All right. By other stuff I mean scissors, strap cutter, blades, doodads that I need. And then the most important two parts is a stone slab, marble, granite, something polished, and then a good sturdy workbench. Now I'm in Taiwan, and this workbench is made in Taiwan, but you can get the exact same workbench at Harbor Freight Tools, and it will be new and prettier than my used, beat up, spilled dye on it bench. So, and then of course my ready rack for my carving tools, and my old swivel knife that's as old as I am, believe it or not, with a ceramic blade. So that's your basic starters. That's what you need. No matter what anybody else says in the world, you don't need pro tools. You don't need custom tools. If you need to make a tool, hell, you can use a nail head to make a tool. You can do like I did, use screwdrivers. And also you need a well-lit area. So that's my little workspace, and it's, as you can see, it's not really big. I'm in Taiwan. I'm limited for space. I do have my cupboards back here where I keep my dyes and other glues and stuff like that, cleaning agents. And then over here I have fasteners, but essentially I have everything I need to make any kind of decent sized leather project. So that's what you need. Most of the stuff you can buy at Tandy Leather. I don't like to buy Tandy Leather because everything they have is pretty much made in Taiwan, and since I live in Taiwan, what's the point? I can buy it here, right? And I find that the quality of their pricking shear or pricking irons and slot punches are fairly poor, whereas the ones I get here from a different brand are actually better made, harder metal, and really handy. The 4 drawers in my workbench, of course, hold everything else I need: patterns, craft aid templates, my threads, and all that. So, yeah, and here's another thing. Expanded polypropylene block from a shipping box or container really is nice for holding all your needles and your stitching awls, because you use them frequently. So that's it. All told, the most expensive items are going to be that skiving knife and the stitching tree at about $30 a piece, converted to American money. And the pricking shears for all 4 of those were about $25 for me. And everything else, God, it's been so long, 30 years for some of these tools. I got them when they were $4 or $5 a piece. Now they're 7-ish. So basically, if you need to get some, just start projects and have tools that'll last you a long time, if you take care of them, what you see right there will do you just fine. Consumables like beeswax and dyes and threads and things like that, you actually don't go through those very quickly. Gum tricant, which is used to slick down edges, you can actually go through that pretty quick and it'll dry out quick, but you can add water and give it a shake, or you can use sugar water as a replacement, and then just regular old rubber cement. I'm very fond of barge cement, but it's super expensive and it's actually quite harmful to the environment and to my health. So if I'm making a flat project and I just need some tack to stick things together, rubber cement it is. So that's it. That's the whole shebang. And I'll do more later.